Hello everybody. I just wanted to make a video about the closing weeks of the class so that you're clear on what's coming up and how to prepare for it. One thing you'll notice is that there is a lot of yellow, which means a lot of assessments or reassessments in the schedule. And so let me just kind of walk us through these so that we know what's coming. Now, one thing I just want to note is that starting on Tuesday, the 24th, so just a few days from now, that night is the last standard for the whole quarter. So you're going to actually be done learning new material just on Tuesday. Then the other thing you have coming up Tuesday, of course, is the reassessment for standards 18 through 23. And even though there's two yellow things here, this is just because I'm giving you 2 days to do it. So you can do the reassessments for these on Tuesday or the reassessments for these on Wednesday. And as always, make sure that you do the assigned work that is down here in this document and attach it before the reassessment in order to gain access. All right, and then of course there's the Thanksgiving holiday after that, and so nothing on the agenda for Thursday or Friday. All right, then the following week is our last official week of class. So here's what's going to happen. On Tuesday, December 1st, you are going to take your assessment on standards 24 through 27, and I am going to grade those as fast as possible. So basically, I'm going to be sitting at my computer waiting for you to complete them, and so I can grade it right away and give it back to you. And the reason I'm going to try to be so quick is because your opportunity to reassess on 24 through 27 is on Friday of that week. So you have a very quick turnaround. So that is going to be your opportunity to do any reassessing on 24 through 27. And as always, you're going to do the assigned work in order to gain access to those. Now, the thing that I talked about at the very beginning of the quarter, and some of you I've talked to about this via the messaging system, is the day before that on Thursday, there is also a reassessment. This one, though, is where I am going to give you the opportunity to reassess on up to 6 standards from 1 through 23. On this reassessment, and this reassessment only, I am not going to require you to attach work in order to get in. So this is literally just pick any 6 standards you want to reassess on and do those. Now, let me just go down here to where that's at. You can see where this is going to be. It's just under here under Assessment Opportunity 3. And you can see there's one for each standard for up to standard number 23. And then what you're going to do is, instead of attaching your work for each standard individually, there's just one at the very bottom. And that's where you'll attach the work for all 6 of those standards just in this one place. Don't do more than 6 of them because I'm only going to grade 6 of them. You don't, of course, have to do 6. You could do 1, 2, 3. You could do none if you felt like you didn't need to. But up to 6 is what you're allowed to reassess on. When you're making the choice about what to reassess on, do it really carefully. So if I go into the grade book here of my fake student, at the very bottom, I want to look at what I've got tallied up so far. So you absolutely need to identify any zeros that you have. So I can see that I have a 0 on standard 17. If you look back in the syllabus, you cannot pass this class if you have any zeros, right? Now, of course, these ones I haven't done yet, so those are not a problem. But this 0 here is not good. I need to take care of that. So number 1 priority is to study up on standard 17 and make that one of my 6. And then after that, of course, you look for 1s. So it looks like standard 6 has a 1, standard 23 has a 1. And then, of course, after that, you look for 2s. So be really careful. Make sure you get any 0s and 1s. And then if you've taken care of those and you still have some to spare, then try to bring 2s or 3s up. Finally, so that's that free reassessment day on Thursday. The day after that is when you can reassess on standards 24 through 27. But remember, for those, you do need to do the work, unlike the day before. And then the only other thing is the final exam. So I'm going to have you get the final exam done by Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. And the thing to remember about the final exam is that just like on a reassessment, if there is a standard that you get a better score for on the final than what you had previously, it'll completely replace your old score. If you do worse, however, those scores would average. So for example, if I had a 4 going into the final, and then I only got a 2 on a particular topic on the final, that would balance out to a 3. So you'd have a proficient rating in that particular standard. The final exam is not going to have every standard on it. In fact, it'll probably have, I don't know, between a third and a half of the standards, probably closer to a third though, of the standards from the whole class. So many of them are not even going to show up. So make sure that you have your scores where you want them heading into the final. But I'm going to decide on the ones that show up on the final. You won't necessarily know what those are ahead of time. So of course, make sure you study up on everything. Now, speaking of studying up on everything, I want you to remember a really nice tool that you have at your disposal. If you go down to past assessments, you have the initial assessment and the reassessment for everything we've done so far, as well as the key. So a really excellent way to study for this final is just to print these out and go through and redo the tests, just like you were taking them for the first time, and then you can of course check your answers with the key. This is a great way to identify the areas that you really need to study more, and then also identify the areas that you really don't need to study at all, and so you don't need to spend your precious study time doing those. So I would definitely begin the process here. This is also a great way to study up for the standards that you want to reassess on that Thursday. The last thing I'll just say here is on Monday, December 7th, which is finals week, I will conduct Zoom office hours from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Since that's kind of our last hurrah, and you may have some questions for me as you're preparing for the final that next day, I'm going to try to make myself available for much of the day. All right, well, in the coming weeks, of course, I'm not only happy to help with this last little bit of new material that you're learning, but also just with you preparing to do reassessments and things like that, right? We want to bring you up to where you're really comfortable with some of those ones you may have struggled on earlier in the quarter. All right, do not hesitate to reach out and ask me questions if you have any about the process that we have moving forward. But other than that, have a great evening.